a total hypocrite.
Yeah.
And you find that.
Yeah, there's a bit like in, I think it's Raw.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Which a lot of people.
Is that the one we talked about the AIDS lips?
Yeah, they slag off. They slag off Raw and Delirious. Delirious is probably worse actually because it's dated so much.
Very homophobic as well.
Very, very homophobic and very ill-informed. But it's still fucking hilarious. Like the two DVDs are incredible. Like watching him do it is just awesome. And he's got a bit about Bill Cosby at the start where he talks to Richard Pryor about doing his stuff, and then he does a huge impression of Bill Cosby telling him not to swear and all that. That's fucking brilliant. That.
Yeah. He was. I think he was 19 when he did. When he did Raw.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
It just. I mean, and that's one of the first stand-up DVDs. Well, DVDs. One of the first stand-up videos I ever saw was Raw. I think it was in telly. I think it was in Channel 4.
Channel 4, yeah. Absolutely. But that's the thing. Like, you can look back at stuff and say, "Oh, that's dated now," but you need to put it in the context of when it came out.
Of course,
you know. That's the same with everything, I guess. But being 19 and selling out like this huge theatre and just iconic in so many different ways it's a shame what's happened to Eddie Murphy. It really is.
Yeah, he seems to be like.
There was talk of him coming back and doing another stand-up special and stuff, but I don't know why he didn't.
Apparently he was on Jay Leno or one of the Tonight shows and he wasn't funny at all. Like it was.
He was on Saturday Night Live's 30th, or was it 30th or 40th anniversary, and it was really funny on that. And they asked him to do jokes about Bill Cosby, and he refused.
All right.
So I don't know.
I heard he fell out with him because David Spade made some sort of joke about Eddie Murphy, calling him like a fallen star or something. And he apparently left David Spade a horrible voicemail.
All right.
So he seems to like be able to dish it out, but sort of can't take it.
Yeah.
I think it's because his career has just went to the clumps.
Did he not shag Mel B as well?
That's
He got a kid with Mel B. Yeah.
Jesus.
Bizarre.
Not really if you think about transvestites, Mel.
That's right up there with Steve Coogan and Courtney Love as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bizarre, yeah.
Seen that documentary about how she maybe killed Kurt Cobain?
Yes.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
What, the one with your man who's like Morrissey, the film director? What do you call him? Nick Broomfield.
I think so.
And basically goes round to the
private detective interviews him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
is it on Netflix?
It is. Yeah,
Court
and Courtney.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, don't know why I can say that there. But yeah, there's a whole big thing about how there is evidence to say that she got him whacked.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah. Just in case you're listening, Courtney.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Would be ace if you listen. Love the controversy.
Yeah, because she, the sort of suicide letter, it didn't match his handwriting and stuff like that. There's a lot of sort of circumstantial stuff, but yeah, very interesting.
Did you watch Making a Murder?
I've not finished it yet. I enjoy it. I find it very difficult to get through an episode. It's very slow paced.
Yeah.
And then I started watching other stuff, and then but I need to finish it.
What else are you watching on Netflix?
Well, I watch Archer.
I've been seeing a couple of
really.
episodes.
I tell you what, I've started watching the extras again, and I've nearly finished extras, and I've loved watching it again. I think it was after I watched Gervais at the Golden Globes. Because I've seen The Office so many times, because it's always on UK Gold, and it's always funny. If I come in from a gig, there'll be an episode coming up, and I'll watch that. So I've seen the episode tons of times, but I've only ever seen extras once. So I've started watching it again. It's fucking brilliant.
What do you think is stand-up from like a technical point of view?
I think it's very, very good. I thought Animals and Politics were awesome, and then I went to see him live, and it wasn't so good. Because that's when he became really, really famous. Yeah. And that was when he was doing the thing with his name lit up in lights, and he stood between two Golden Globes and all that kind of shit. And it wasn't as good an hour, but I think the first two are phenomenal. Yeah. Like really, really good. And
with him, I think he kind of treads the sort of the line of, is he being ironic when he's like, oh, I've won these Golden Globes in my name, you know?
Yeah.
Or is it his ego? Like, you kind of just don't really know.
It just goes on about atheism, and it's just like, give it a rest. Yeah. Just feel that, like, kind of a bit preachy, ironically, about it. Do you know what I mean? It's let people believe what they're going to believe.
Aye.
But yeah, see the thing that what I found weird about how people talk about Making a Murderer, they talk about it like it's a TV show. I mean, it is a documentary, but they talk about it like, oh, did you see this episode? And it's a guy's life. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I was
It's-
thinking that
there's
with true-
cliffhangers at the end.
I know.
With true crime shows, it numbs you, because I was watching a true crime show the other day. I was also getting used to the formula of it. Oh, this is just about her going about him and she misses him. I'll skip this bit, get to the crime. He's a human being that's lost someone.
I know.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
I've started listening to. I never really listened to podcasts that much before, because I think it was because I didn't drive before, and I never really found it time. So I kind of went right, and then I asked people for loads and loads and loads and loads of different podcasts, and I said, right, this is what I'm into. I'm into comedy, I'm into films, I'm into music, and started suggesting. So I've started listening to a lot of them, and then I was driving home, and I thought, I really quite like conspiracy theory shit.
Oh, me too.
Like, I don't believe a lot of it, but I quite like people talking about it, and I quite like that bit, kind of going, "Oh, that's right."
It could be true,
Christ,
yeah.
So I've started listening to
Lizards.
this. I've started listening to this one, and it's amazing. And
Is it the conspiracy guys?
the conspiracy guys, two Irish boys,
it's
and
brilliant.
they've got a Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love one coming up, because I've listened to it, because I thought it was a long drive home I had. So I thought, right, straight in 9/11. Let's just do that one. Let's do the 2-hour extravaganza first. And that was amazing, because there was so much stuff that I didn't know had happened.
Yeah.
A lot of compelling stuff, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. And then I started listening to, which I didn't even know was a conspiracy about, the Sandy Hook Massacre in America. That would they basically, because I've now learned the term false flag. I didn't realise what that was, where it's like the governmental engineer.
Yeah.
Like 9/11 is the ultimate false flag, because it's an event that they engineer to put in place something else under the radar. And then I've started listening to the Madeleine McCann one now, which is pretty fascinating listening to that.
The Irish documentary, the French documentary, really good about that. That's done by the first investigator.
All right.
That's really interesting. Yeah,
I think with the podcasts, and especially that one, it's about the actual guy. It's not necessarily about the content, it's about how it's laid out and stuff.
Yeah.
And the actual guys doing it. Kind of like stand-up as well. You can have a really good guy who's technically good at stand-up, but just doesn't have a lot of charisma, or doesn't get his kind of points across. So that's a really good, I enjoy that one myself,
The amount of research they put in is incredible. It's
Totally.
incredibly impressive, because they put all the links and all the sources and stuff up on their website afterwards.
Really, really good. So you think 9/11 was
I'm like, it's very hard to argue that it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think that there was one thing. The one thing I didn't know about it was I think it was Building 11, the other one that came down.
Yeah.
That was a fair bit away from either of the Twin Towers, and it came down. It wasn't hit by anything, and then it came down like 4 hours after the other two had fallen.
Oh wow!
And then
It was reported on BBC that it already came down when it hadn't.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
It's
And there was. I was always kind of. I always knew about the building. What I didn't know was the various organisations that had offices in that building. So there was like a main FBI office, a main CIA, a main tax office. There was the office of the department that would deal with such a tragedy.
Oh,
And
So if you want to get rid
exactly
of
a lot of
evidence
information very, very quickly,
yeah.
just destroy that building.
It's amazing what that did to the. We're getting quite serious, but it's amazing what it did to America and just the world in general. But Trump, Trump fan.
I heard a conspiracy theory about him that he's just
a puppet
for the Clintons, so they can.
Not an actual puppet. Like have you seen that hair? For God's sake.
I quite enjoy Trump. I enjoy Trump in terms of him just now, because he's very, very good value.
Yeah.
To make jokes about. I don't know if I'd be willing to trade the jokes I'm making just now for him to actually become president. It would seem a bit unfair for me to get 6 months of jokes worth, and then
he says he's going to have a great relationship with Putin, and that
obviously that, yeah.
Come on, world peace, get the Russians and Americans on side. That's everybody sorted. But no, it's kind of terrifying in a lot of ways. But yeah,
you don't really want someone that's had a reality TV show to be, you know what I mean?
Well, your man was a cowboy, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
famous B-movie actor.
Films though, that's all right.
But like the ridiculousness of Trump becoming, and the kind of hilarity when Trump started running, and the kind of mocking of his campaign, that was exactly the same as Reagan had when he first decided he was going to run.
Or Hitler.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Did Hitler have a reality show?
That would be it. Coming up next, Hitler.
But yeah,
Going for the beard or the moustache look.
the thing with Trump though is how much popular he's got by coming out with more and more like scandalously, ridiculously racist, horrible stuff, and that's what's getting the vote to continually rise. It's terrifying.
It's almost like a dare he's got with his pals.
Exactly.
Like someone go and say this.
Aye,
say
there
this.
you go.
I can't remember who was saying this, but something to do with what Nigel Farage does, where he'll come out and say something ridiculous, like something racist. Then he apologises. But all it's done was the people that are secretly racist go, yeah, there's got a point there. So it's actually serves well for his
But
agenda.
Trump doesn't apologise.
All right.
That's the other thing is, I think everyone's. I've got a friend in St. Louis, and he's saying, "Don't worry, no one really pays attention." And it's basically the West Coast and the East Coast that decide it, and that's fair enough. But his numbers on the West Coast and East Coast are slowly starting to rise as well. It's
what's dangerous is he's getting people that would never even know there was an election on, let alone bother to vote, are now going to vote.
Yeah.
And so you've got this entire silent majority that you would just always assume with these hicks that just would have no interest in the election process at all. There's a guy who's speaking for us.
The reason they're poor is because of Muslims. Obviously, it's got on to do with the state of American politics is Muslims. So you get the Muslims out, and then obviously they start building the towers and the golden mansions, and it's terrifying. There we go.
World is fucked. What about David Cameron?
No, I don't really want to even comment on him, to be fair.
I really can't look at his face anymore.
After the pig thing.
Just what he stands for. Yeah. It's like, he's the kind of person you would meet who, if he was a manager, he would be a total dick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Condescending kind of nature.
Aye.
Can I ask you a question in terms of, during the sort of coming up for the independence sort of vote, did you find that, did you talk about that at all during your
I talked about it a lot.
You done the show Kieran Vlad, didn't you?
Yeah. I talked about it a lot.
How did you find, like, audiences' sort of reactions?
Initially, when I started doing it, there was so much apathy about it. It was incredible. People had no idea about any of the people involved. They had no idea about the policies. They had no idea about the arguments for or against. And it was quite annoying because I had a huge bit about it in my Edinburgh show of 2014. No, wait a minute. When was the referendum? 2014?
2014, yeah.
14, yeah. So I had a lot about it in that. So that happened in August. And then things only really, even during that month of August, there was, I would try and get some kind of measure on how the audience was thinking about it, and there was still so many people. There was some people incredibly passionate about it, but then there was some people who still kind of went, I don't care, like we generally don't care, like just. But then as September started, it built and built. It's like it was 2 weeks of just mania, and people were so into it. People knew everything about it. And I was kind of going, fuck, did you not start? Like, that bit would have gone so much better. Like, that could have been like... but yeah, after that, and people really get into it. But for a very, very small period of time, were the mass public really interested in it. And then doing stuff about it down in England was very interesting because you'd get complete apathy before, and almost... they'd always mock you if you were talking about it. Yeah. And then as it built, and the media down there started to paint Scotland as an enemy, you really started to notice hostility.
Oh, really?
From some certain audiences. Like, there's been a couple of times where if they heard my accent, they'd start booing and shit like that. So it was like, it was very interesting.
Feels more like a wrestling match than a stand-up.
Yeah, I was the heel for the night. Yeah.
Ric Flair.
I don't follow wrestling.
I know
We're
you
interviewing
don't.
Billy tomorrow if he wants to chat to him about wrestling.
There you go.
Do you follow the wrestling? I feel like an old man saying the wrestling.
I used to follow it, but I've not for a long time.
I think it's a shame what happened to Hulk Hogan.
I do actually. Yeah,
it's a private.
Yeah,
it's a private thing.
Yeah, you should be able to be racist in your own home.
I know, while you're having sex.
On your own sex tape.
Yeah. Oh Christ, so it was. Fucking hell, yeah. Come to think of it.
you know, while having sex with your daughter's best friend.
Was it? Fuck.
Yeah, bit weird. None of that comes out well at all.
Probably the only time he looked believable on film, though. Like, his movies were terrible. Like,
Yeah.
he always looked